As diversity in population and interest grew in the 20th century, educational structures have since become standardized into their modern forms. Legislative reforms, notably the Charter of Rights and Freedoms in 1982, have mandated a more equitable form of treatment to students, an order conveyed in substantial part by structural enhancements. The debate surrounding education, however, has not slowed since the erosion of its racist and explicitly assimilatory aspects. By examining our contemporary bureaucracy, we can find persistent tensions inspired by ongoing political and ideological disagreements. Despite an overall shift in the purpose of education towards an inclusive program, the practical and financial details of this implementation are sources of controversy. Unlike other industrial countries, the vast majority of educational responsibility and legislation take place at the provincial and not federal level. An overwhelming 93% of students in schools operate under provincially managed and funded schools, with the other 7% spread between federally funded programs, such as reserve and military schools. Each province is headed by an elected Minister of Education who takes control of the professional bureaucracy of his or her Ministry of Education. Because the minister is elected to office and, through an order of the Premier, appointed to the education portfolio, he or she will likely possess a political agenda. As well, since the Minister of Education sits on the Premier's cabinet, they will have a hand in, and be influenced by, overarching and powerful political initiatives that confront their party. This political leaning of educational control has been a source of tension when it meets the professional staffers and bureaucrats of the ministry, represented often by the Deputy Minister, and school systems. One way in which to view this tension is the struggle between the centralized partisan leanings of the government and the more locally minded professional staff who seek to protect the flexibility of individual districts and schools. This conflict has become apparent in recent back-to-basics and drill-and-kill attitudes that have come in response to an apparent slide in student test scores. While some political corners have argued for a systematized approach in teaching all students in the same way to achieve reliable results, the educational community has remained reticent, often believing that teacher freedom results in better learning or that the tests used themselves are flawed. Under the provincial ministry, education is divided into school districts and their boards, supervisory and policy-making bodies composed of a board of elected trustees and a superintendent, who is appointed by that board. The tension we examined before reappears at this level as superintendents and principals find themselves at odds with the political and re-election concerns of their trustees, and, in addition, further political, local, and ideological interest groups enter the fray at this level. These groups, which include cultural and linguistic protection groups and parents' associations, have joined the dialogue in school organization in order to enhance, according to their agendas, the experiences of students. We can take a look at a basic organization chart here. Though the conflicts I've highlighted here do not represent critical obstacles, they do show that even though the bureaucratic organization may seem static, its finer operations and methods are under constant scrutiny by a number of parties. How education is structured in government is always in flux as its members interact with each other and as new interest groups attempt to gain a foothold.
Created using Powtoon.